going Rescue Rangers. This video is going to be about doorway etiquette and how you can achieve the wait at the door. Let's get right into it. There's going to be a lot that goes into the wait at the door. Your leash handling, your dog should be able to sit, your dog should be able to sit for duration, and they should be able to do a sit stay. That's you distancing yourself from your dog. Okay, that's a few skills that you'd like your dog to have. As far as the leash goes, we do use our leash throughout our exercises to help manage our dog in our particular space, to help guide their movements, and sometimes we do use pressure. I typically like to minimize the amount of pressure that we're using in our sessions. We like to rely on creating an environment and creating exercises that encourage the dog to think the situation out and come to the correct conclusions themselves. And our job is essentially to just be there and to capture those moments and reward those moments. Okay? So we try to minimize the use of our leash by also using the lure. So we typically will be using our hands as lures, and you essentially want to get your animals to follow your hand and find that beneficial for them. Okay? Initially, we don't want to be using so many words with our animals because animals are not verbal communicators. They will look to your body language and what the environment, what the situation is telling them before they can comprehend what you're saying. Okay, so keep that in mind when you're trying to communicate with your dog. We emphasize on body language, sign language for initial communication. Once you're a bit advanced, then you can end up with just the verbal. Okay? Teaching the dog their placement skills is going to be pretty vital for accomplishing the wait at the door. They're going to need to know how to sit, they're going to need to know how to wait, they're going to need to know how to stay, and they're going to need to know how to accomplish a few of these things with distraction, the distraction of opening the door. Typically, our dogs are only going through this experience when they're going outside, so it's typically very rushed. Or when people are coming into our homes or when we're coming home, there's typically a lot of energy, excitement that goes on to this. So we're really looking to smooth this whole situation down, and it's a bit of a process. So placement is the first thing. Utilizing our leash is going to be that second thing, okay? And then simulating the experience, that's going to be the third thing. We want to be placing our dog, we want to be rattling the doorknob, we want to be knocking on the door, getting our dogs used to those things. Then we slowly start opening the door incrementally and closing and capturing those moments. We capture and reward. Say yes, or use your clicker and give your dog some food. Okay? Eventually, you'll find that you're going to be able to open the door pretty wide. At that point, that's your cue to allow your dog to go outside. So at that point, the reward for your dog sitting and waiting is the being able to go outside. Okay? And this is going to lend itself into different things that you can teach your dog, like the leave it. and it's going to influence your decision making as well when you're going to be allowing your dogs to greet strangers, okay? We want them to be in a calm, relaxed state of mind and know that there's a process for things, and the reward for for them being calm and relaxed is going to be greeting the guests that come into the home or being allowed to go outside, whatever it is, okay? So teaching our dog a little bit of composure is going to be very helpful for this whole process. And the leave it commands, those are very helpful with developing that composure, okay? In the event that your dog does bolt out on you as you're going through these exercises, you're gonna want to be aware that there is something called a body block. It's essentially you're acting as a goalie would in soccer. You're trying to prevent your dog from actually getting outside by utilizing your feet and your body. Like we mentioned before, the calmer your dog is, the more your door is going to be opening. If your dog is breaking from the sit position, the door would be closing. So along with your body block, you would be closing the door at this time as well if your dog is breaking from their position. And you do have the added security of still being attached to your dog with the leash, okay? Something that can be useful with some pretty stubborn dogs, and for individuals not willing to spend all the time teaching their dog all of the little skills that they need to really accomplish the wait at the door smoothly. If you fall into that category, you're going to be using more of your body blocking. You might be using more of your leash handling techniques. And you might be utilizing a pop when your dog bolts out of the door. So the leash pop, you're essentially bracing yourself at the doorway while your dog bolts out. They would pop themselves on their leash, and know that there is a bit of a consequence to them bolting out of the door that way. So when that happens, we encourage our dogs to come back in. We're opening the door again, incrementally. If the dog bolts out, there's another pop on the leash that prevents him from leaving past of the front doorstep. After that's done a few times, typically you see the dog, the frequency of them bolting is minimized at that point. So that's relying more on the corrections and utilizing pressure. So once our dog is outside, there is the idea that we need to close the door and lock it. So once we're outside, it doesn't mean that our dogs are free to bolt or they're free to begin wandering around. We encourage another placement that's typically your front doormat. Your dog can place themselves there. They can sit or they can stand. As long as they're not pulling you on the leash, they're expected to wait there. As you close the door, lock it, make sure everything is situated, and then you're ready to go at that point. So as you're practicing this, you would have your dog wait in order to leave the front door, and then as soon as he's allowed to leave outside, he's expected to wait again, and you can reward him at that point, and you're going inside, rewarding him again, and that's pretty much the little training cycle that you're going through. Okay? So hopefully this whole video was helpful. If there's any additional questions, as this was a pretty brief overview, just leave a comment or go ahead and message me, and hopefully I can address those questions in another video or through your messages. Okay? We'll see you soon. Keep training to gain, and take care of yourselves. Good. Good. And then just open the door kind of casually. Good. And then close. Good. And come back soon. Yes, good boy. You can go wider. Okay? So you hear, you just like stay. Stay. Good boy. Good boy. Good. 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 And not so much time, you're just gonna open. There you go. Quickly and then close. Come back to him and then yes, good boy. Let's see if we can do that again. Stay. Good. 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 Okay. Yes. There you go. Okay. Stay. Stay. Remember, you're good. And say, yes, good boy. And then plays.